This is Deplorables. Shakespeare Plotz. A Midsummer's Night Vet Dream. Narrated by Chaim Burnhaudt, MD. Well, hello everybody. Welcome. I say hello. Good Shabbos, Boker Tov, Shalom, Erev Tov, Laila Tov, whatever you are, Tov. Anyway, this is a play called A Midsummer's Night or Wet Dream by Shakespeare. You remember him? And the play opens with Hernia, that's the name of the lady, who is in love with a non-involved bystander, that's the name of the guy. And she's kvetching, she's complaining in Yiddish at her father, her tata, that's his name, who just walked in and calls bystander a mamzer, a bastard. He just thinks he's a shadchan, a matchmaker from heaven, who has arranged for her to marry the meat for us. That's another name of a guy. Gallbladder, Hernia's best friend, kvetches, she complains, from abdominal pain for the meat for us, who ditched her to be with Hernia, knowing full well the meat for us specialized in removing hernias as a Jewish big macher, Harvard Medical School trained surgeon. Go figure. Furious, he just thinks he can make a killing financially as a big macher Jewish lawyer who also graduated Harvard from their law school. He cites an ancient Greek law before Duke Theseus, who's a piece of dreck, that a daughter needs to marry a tailor, a suitor, chosen by her tata, her father, or else face death by shaming from extensive guilt for not obeying all the 615 commandments in the Shulchan Aruch, or the Code of Jewish Law. Theseus offers her another fakakta cruddy choice, lifelong chastity as a nun worshipping the goddess Artemis, but soon says, "Oi, I forgot everything I just said." You get it? Her name was Artemis, the goddess. Anyway, Peter Pecker and his fellow players, Rock Bottom, Francis Puke, Robin Starving, Tom Snoutsnot, and Schmuck, plan to put on a play for the wedding of the Duke and the Queen. How nice, sehr schön. The most lamentable comedy and the most cruel death of ignoramus and dithmoth be. Quintuplet reads the names of the characters 5 times, then turns the light switches on and off 5 times in the area due to his having a severe obsessive-compulsive neurosis, then bestows the names on the players. Rock Bottom, who is playing the main role of ignoramus, a role well below his capabilities, but is doing it because he's at, what do you think, Rock Bottom? No? He gets excited and wets his pants, then states that he wants to overcome his below-level position by suggesting he play all the characters of This Must Be, because this must be his lucky day. He must have a lisp or something. The lion he wants to do, too, and an ignoramus at the same time. Quintuplet demands 5 times, again, that Rock Bottom can only play the role of ignoramus, or he will be ignored by the others. They reject him. Feeling depressed, despondent, and hitting Rock Bottom becomes grandiose and states that he would also like to recite some Bazatska, testicles, lines of testicles, as if it's a Greek poet. Rock Bottom is told by Quintuplet 5 times, horror, oh my goodness, that he would do the lion so poorly that he would frighten the duchess and ladies enough for the duke and the lords to have all the players hanged upside down by their Bazatskas. Schmuck, being a big prick, says that he needs the lion's part because he's slow of study, given he smokes 5 marijuana blunts daily. Well, wouldn't you be slow of study if you were smoking like that many blunts? Quintuplet assures Schmuck 5 times via another repetition compulsion that the role of the lion is nothing but roaring, like his mother did towards neighbors from her Bronx apartment, and they should stop being such a schmuck, she yells out the window. Quintuplet then ends the meeting telling his actor 5 times, OCD, at the Duke's outhouse we meet. At the Duke's outhouse we meet. At the Duke's outhouse we meet. During this time, Overharden, king of the biggest schmucks this side of the East River, and Titanium, his queen, who has a thing for large titanium balls she carries in a sack, have come to the forest outside Athens. Titanium tells her Overharden that he must remain firmly erect, You get that? And that she plans to stay there until she has those nunniks, those nincompoops, attending Theseus and Hippopotamus's wedding. They're quelling already. They're so happy. Overhardon and Titanium are not speaking to each other. This they need yet. Now, before the wedding. Because Titanium refuses to give her husband the use of his phallus, or hump man, since the child's mother was one of Titanium's steel worshippers. Overhardon wants to punish Titanium's ballsy attitude. He calls upon Robin Schmuck Goodfellow, his shrewd and conniving Coke, no Sprite, to help him create a magical juice derived from the semen of a hippopotamus and breast milk from a female ant, which turns from white to purple when struck by Cupid's arrow. Oh, the changes in the color. To put my sunglasses on. When the mixture is applied to the eyelids of a man schluffen, the man sleeping, that man, upon waking, becomes horny and starts to stop his brains out with any living creature he encounters. Oy. He instructs Schmuck to retrieve the mixture with the hope that he becomes horny enough to stop Titanium and some animal of the forest after learning that Titanium was into sodomy. Oy, Gavalt, oy, such a problem again. He tries to make her feel tremendous guilt to give up her meshugana, her crazy behavior, and pedophilic desires for their little Indian boy as well. As he sucks on a lozenge while smoking a joint, he says, "And here I take this charm from off her sight, as I can take it with another herb." Get it? I'll make her render up her page to me. Get it? Another pedophilic act he wants, as if sodomy isn't enough of a problem for him. Hernia and her bystander, being oblivious to everything around him, have escaped to the forest in hopes of running away from Theseus, because the place smells from Drek. Well, wouldn't you feel like you're getting away if you're in Theseus' Dreky place? Helena, desperate to reclaim the love of Demetrius, and for herself too, tells Demetrius about the plan, and follows them in hopes of finding Hernia in a nearby hospital, because her hernia is about to be removed by the big macha Jewish surgeon, Morris Moskowitz, MD. He's a chair of the department. Helena continually makes advances towards Demetrius, promising to love him more than Hernia, if he shares his meat for us and for her too. However, he rebuffs Helena using a shmata, a rag from a shoeshine kit, and saying cruel insults against her, claiming she doesn't have the bazatskas or testicles to handle his fleshik, his meat. Observing this, Overhardon orders Schmuck to ejaculate some of the magical juice from his flower on the eyelids of the young Athenian man. Close your eyes. Instead, Schmuck becomes a real Schmuck and mistakes bystander for Demetrius and administers the juice to the sleeping bystander, who doesn't have any idea what's going on because he is a bystander. Helena, coming across bystander, wakes him while attempting to determine whether he is dead, is verkackt dead, stup dead, or is simply schluffing, he's sleeping. Upon this happening, bystander immediately falls in love with Helena. Helena, thinking bystander is simply fooling around because he has nothing else better to do than to stand idly by, runs away with bystander following her. When Hernia wakes up in the operating room, she sees that bystander has gained a vex. He's gone away and goes out in the woods to find him. "Oh, bystander, where are you? Hello, bystander. Don't stand idly by. Come with me." Overhardon sees Demetrius still following Hernia, who thinks Demetrius killed bystander and becomes furious that bystander didn't leave one piece of kosher meat for him. What a knife. Some chutzpah, no? When Demetrius gets schluffen, she goes to sleep, Overhardon sends his schmuck to get Helena erect while he hypnotizes Demetrius' eyes with his rotating schlang, his pecker. Upon waking up, he sees Helena. Now, both men are in love with Helena. Go figure. However, she is convinced that her two tailors, sudas, are making fun of her clothing, since neither one loved her fashion style from the day they first met her shopping on Madison Avenue in Manhattan. Hernia finds bystander idly standing by again, and asks why he left her, but bystander denies he loved Helena more than he loved his hernia, and even more than Dr. Markowitz, the Jewish surgeon who clapped the hernia off, and he loves it even more than everybody. Hernia accuses Helena of stealing her bystander away from her, despite his simply standing around, being indifferent to everyone and everything. What do you have the hots for this guy? I don't know. In contrast, Helena believes Hernia joined the two men in mocking her Madison Avenue clothing. Oh, it's a shame. Hernia tries to attack Helena with snap your mother insults, but the two men protect Helena. Bystander, tired of Hernia having the chutzpah, the nerve to say such things, snaps back with his own your mother insults. Bystander and the meat for us decide to find a place to duel, using kosher wet kugel noodles to prove whose love for Helena is greater. The two women go their own separate ways to kibbutz talk with friends. Helena hopes to reach Athens by cell phone during off-peak hours, while Hernia has the chutzpah, the nerve, to chase after the men to make sure Bystander doesn't get hurt or killed or even, God forbid, stub his toe. Over hard on, orders Schmuck to keep Bystander and the meat for us from catching up with one another and to remove the pupik, the belly button, the navel, from Bystander so he can return to love Hernia and not be so much in the background, while the meat for us continues to show his schlang, his pekka, love for Helena. Meanwhile, Quintuplet and his band of 6 Geveshin Aroif, his washed-up rude mechanicals, or actors, as they are described by Schmuck, to arrange to perform their play about Ignoranus and Nithmoth B for Theseus' wedding, and they venture into the forest near Titanium's throne like steel oak trees for their rehearsal. Quintuplet leads the Geveshin Aroif, the washed-up actors, in their rehearsal of the play by first performing 5 compulsive rituals 5 times. Rak Badam is spotted by Schmuck, who transforms his head, into that of an ass, a donkey. An ass. When Rak Badam hits Rak Badam and returns for his next lines, the other workmen vet meshuggah, they go crazy, and they run screaming in terror, as if they have been chased by Cossacks. Oi, Gavalt, oi! They claim that they are dibiks, the spirits, much to Rak Badam's confusion. Determined to wait for his friends, he goes meshuggah crazy, singing to himself while dancing naked in the woods. Oh, they're going to take him away to my unit. After receiving the love potion, Titanium is awakened by Rak Badam's singing songs from the Great Depression and immediately falls in love with him. She makes him a lox and onion omelet with pickled herring, stewed prunes, and a bagel, just in case he has constipation, and a bagel with cream cheese as her fagele friends, gayish friends, watch nearby and envy, dancing to the old 1960s dance, the locomotion. Remember that? Everybody's doing it, the dance sound. Come on, baby, do the locomotion. I think that's Carole King, no? I don't know. Maybe Queen? I don't know. While all this is going on, Overhardon becomes erect and takes on the role of the main Fegeler, the main gayish person. Having achieved his goals, Overhardon releases Titanium and orders Schmuck to stop using his putz, his pekka, to remove the donkey's the donkey's head underneath from rock bottom, and arranges everything for the ganze Yidden, for all the Jews. Helena, Hernia, the meat for us, and Bystander will all believe they have been having wet dreams when they awaken. Schmuck distracts Bystander and the meat for us from arguing like they're at a shul, a synagogue board meeting, over Helena's love by calling them a bunch of schmendricks, of silly people, uninvolved, no good nicks, no goodness, and treif, spoiled, non-kosher meat fit for no one. Eventually, all 4 find themselves schluffing in the meadow. They're sleeping in the meadow. Once they fall asleep, Schmuck gives the love potion to Bystander again. He states that his schlang has fallen for Hernia, but will resurrect, and claims that the doctor will make a house call for them all in the morning. From this, he makes a living. I don't think they can do it anymore. They used to do it when we were younger, but not now. The Fegel is Genevek. The gays disappear, and Theseus and Hippopotamus arrive in an animalistic manner during an early morning hunt for hidden salamanders. I used to love watching salamanders of summers. But camp, they find the lovers still schluffing, they're still sleeping in the meadow, snorting like overheated Cadillacs without mufflers. Oi, the noise. They wake up the lovers, and since the meat for us is no longer love's hernia, since a successful hernia operation with Dr. Markovitz, Theseus drops a load, and he just demands and arranges for a group orgy, wedding. At first, the lovers believe they are still having wet dreams and can't remember what they were dreaming about to have caused stained grass all around them, all the dreck all around. The lovers decide that the night's events must have been a wet dream. After they leave, Rockbottom wakes up after having slept beneath all the others and decides that he too must have experienced a wet dream, past the locks and cream cheese, after you please, of men. At Quintuplet's house, he and his team of Gewation Aroif, washed-up actors, worry that Rockbottom is missing and severely depressed from hitting Rockbottom. He can't get away from this place. Quintuplet states 5 times that Rockbottom is the only man who can take on the lead role of an ignoramus. Rockbottom returns, and the actors get ready to put on their play, given it's a sellout crowd, discount tickets, but they have to sit 6 feet apart from each other. Oy. In Athens, Theseus, Hippopotamus, and the lovers watch the Gewation Aroif actors, the washed-up actors, perform Ignoramus and This Must Be, because this must be their lucky day. They must have such a lift. The performers are so verkackt, they're so drunk or whatever, playing their roles or shit-faced roles, that the guests laugh and wet their pants as if the play was meant to be something funny. It wasn't funny. Afterwards, Overhardon and Titanium, Schmuck, and the Fegelers enter, and together make a bracha, a blessing on the house, and wish a good Shabbos, a good Sabbath, for all its occupants. After all the other characters leave, Schmuck restores amends, and pistachio nuts, cashews, and walnuts to the nut dish. You get it? Restores amends, like almonds, and suggests that what the audience experienced might have been a wet dream. In turn, the entire audience lays down on the floor to schluffen, to sleep, to re-experience such a tragedy you shouldn't know from.